This is KGW News at 5.
And first here at 5 o'clock, Oregon schools have a new way to keep kids from missing class because of COVID quarantines. Galen Etlin takes a look at a new program that comes as Oregon's COVID numbers continue trending downward.
Students getting off the bus each day face new challenges.
Everyone had hoped that this year was going to be more normal, and of course it's not normal.
That's Reed Scott Schwalbach, president of the Oregon Education Association, speaking on behalf of teachers to lawmakers last week. She says students missing class for COVID quarantine is just one of the problems right now.
The second grade teacher in Medford told me that she was seeing behaviors that she thought were much more in line with a kindergarten classroom.
So the state has a new program.
Will greatly reduce the number of students who miss school due to quarantines.
Oregon Department of Education Director Colt Gill is talking about the new Test to Stay protocol. It allows students exposed to COVID at school with masks to stay in class if they continue to test negative during the week.
Create the stability that we know that our students need.
Most Oregon school districts are already part of the state's COVID testing program, and this would expand on that. But supply chain issues are on the radar.
We've heard from our federal partners and from manufacturers that the supply will be stable and will remain adequate. However, a nationwide COVID-19 surge could impact this supply.
About 30 states are seeing COVID numbers go up right now, which could put a strain on testing supply. For now, Oregon's in a better spot with the fourth lowest case numbers nationwide. But Oregon Health Authority is cautious.
We worry that could happen in Oregon.
A challenge for schools to test students is how short-staffed they are.
Has left educators exhausted to a point that we have not seen before.
We really do think this will be a turnaround for our students and families and educators.
The state acknowledges this Test to Stay program is another job for educators and urges parents to help by volunteering at schools and vaccinating their children over 5.
If we see very high rates of student vaccination in the future, at some point we may no longer need this protocol.
Good morning! Good morning!
Making that day off the bus a little easier. Galen Etlin, KGW News.
OHSU's most recent COVID forecast shows some promising numbers. The model projects a continued decline in COVID hospitalizations in Oregon, and it also does not predict a COVID holiday surge, although travel and holiday gatherings could slow the rate of decline in hospitalizations. An Alaska Airlines flight had to make an emergency landing at PDX today after one of its engines had a mechanical problem. The flight was on its way to San Francisco when it happened. The Airbus A320 returned to Portland and landed around 11:45 this morning. Maintenance crews are now inspecting the plane, and the 150 passengers who were on board are being rerouted on different flights. Lots of people are driving to Thanksgiving destinations today. We are taking a live look right now this evening. This is at I-5 at Going Street. Now it is slow out there. We know it's typical for this commute here on I-5 to be slow this time of day, but it is busy out there. Our Bryant Clerkley is keeping an eye on the roads for us and joins us live from Highway 26. Bryant, hi.
Yes, Highway 26, there are a lot of people here. Now this highway goes out to the coast and we're actually headed back into the city. I'm going to show you guys what we're looking at right now. So there is some congestion and you're going to have to slow down and be very careful. The most important thing is safety. And according to the Oregon Department of Transportation, the Thanksgiving holiday is one of the busiest times to travel on the roads. Officials expect the most congestion today and when people are heading back on Sunday. More than 740,000 Oregonians are expected to hit the roads for the holiday, and with the most traffic coming in and out of the Portland metro area. Now, AAA says travel levels are almost back to pre-pandemic times. A lot of people feel more comfortable seeing family for the holidays, and when it comes to gas, AAA says it's expensive this year, and the prices will remain high for quite some time.
Gas prices are at record highs in some cases for the holiday, including here in Oregon. Our current average is $3.78 a gallon. We've never paid this much for gas at Thanksgiving.
AAA also wants to remind people to check their car batteries. They say their #1 call is for people with dead car batteries. It's also important to have an emergency kit in your car with snacks and water and extra clothing and blankets. And Ashley, we're going to continue to watch the roads on the highway. And again, everybody drive safely. Ashley?
Brian, thank you so much. Well, we know it will be a busy shopping weekend around town, and finding a parking spot can be stressful. Chris McGinnis takes on holiday parking in his next installment of Driving Me Crazy.
Here at the New Seasons in Slabtown, you've got a very busy and small parking lot with pedestrians crossing left and right, cars coming both directions, and cars lined up ready to steal your spot.
There's tight spaces around here, and you got to get creative, and you got to put your skill set on and really go for it.
Though Lisa here at the Uptown Zoopans thinks Portland drivers are a little more polite when it comes to parking.
Lived overseas for a long time, and people in Portland in general will follow, first rights sort of thing. If they see that you've been looking earlier, they will actually let you into a spot when it comes open.
Dave here prefers a bike to avoid the parking frenzy.
So I think it's the best way to go. Clearly it's a mess, and look at this. I got my own little rack right here waiting for me.
Dave had the only bike on the rack, so clearly most of us are still driving and competing for a spot. The other parking lot challenge? Avoiding fender benders or having someone dinging your door and driving off. According to the National Safety Council, insurance claims spike on Black Friday and run above normal through the holiday shopping season. Some tips to avoid extra dings and dents? Slow down, back in when possible, and maybe rethink rockstar parking. Farther away might be better.
It might actually be better to park in a corner where there's only one car next to you, and maybe like there's a concrete barrier or a wall there. That decreases the chances of your doors getting pinged a little bit.
When the parking lot fails, if you just need a 5-minute spot, Peabot opened 25 5-minute free fast stops in 5 of Portland's busiest shopping districts. Of course, parking on the street brings new challenges. Do you have a backup camera?
I wish I did.
It come in handy on a day like today.
I do have the beeping though.
So that helps.
Yeah.
Jamie got his spot eventually, but if you need a refresher on parallel parking, here's a segment we did with Pacific Driver Education.
Now shift to reverse.
Okay.
Turn your wheel and go straight back. And you just made a perfect parallel park.
I want to know what drives you nuts on the roads. Post your comments, photos, and videos to my social media. Or you can email me, cmcginnis@kgw.com. Happy holidays.
In some other news, today a judicial panel upheld Oregon's new congressional maps drawn up during September's contentious redistricting session. Republicans had challenged the maps, accusing Democrats of gerrymandering. However, the panel found no evidence of that. And by the way, gerrymandering is the illegal manipulation of electoral district boundaries for political gain. The maps will result in 4 House seats that are either safe for or lean in favor of Democrats, 1 that's safe for Republicans, and 1 that is a potential toss-up. All right, let's look ahead now to the story at 6 o'clock. We're talking about the 50th anniversary of the D.B. Cooper hijacking. Maggie Vespa's here with a deep dive you took into our archives.
Yeah, we call these the KGW Vault segments on the story, and this might be the Vault segment to end all Vault segments. It's fitting for the greatest, one of the greatest mysteries anyway, to ever be born out of the Pacific Northwest. And you know the drill when it comes to D.B. Cooper, but just to recap, on November 24th, 1971, a man who said his name was Dan Cooper hijacked a Boeing 727 en route from Portland to Seattle. The plane then landed in Seattle, where he let passengers off, demanded the plane refuel, then he gathered his infamously large ransom payment and told the pilot to take off again, this time flying south to Mexico. So here's what happened next, as told by a KGW story from 2001, marking the 30th anniversary. And you'll see it contains newscast footage from the day of that harrowing escape.
There's a huge manhunt on in the state of Washington for the middle-aged man who hijacked a jetliner and got $200,000 in ransom money, then escaped by parachuting into the night from the hijacked plane.
Cooper's escape and the massive manhunt that followed is what makes that night live on in our collective memories. After getting his $200,000, Cooper forced the plane to take off from Seattle, bound for Mexico. But somewhere over the thick woods in southwest Washington, Cooper packed into a parachute, strapped his money bag to his waist, and made a leap of faith into freezing, stormy clouds.
I think he gambled his life, and I think he probably lost.
Don't you love the graphics?
I love those.
I love the graphics so
Vintage
much.
graphics.
Vintage graphics. Former KGW reporter Steph Strickland there. We also found this in our archives, a tape labeled Save Till D.B. Cooper Caught. The big question, what in the world is on that tape?
That's what I'm wondering.
Watch the story at 6 p.m. to find out.
All right.
The best tease you've ever seen?
Yeah. This story is so captivating to so many people, so
Definitely.
I love it. Thanks for taking us back into the
Absolutely.
archive
We'll
there.
see you at 6.